Whether you're a Wall Street pro or brand new to investing on your own, I'm about to show you two ETFs that pay a high monthly income and are actually tax efficient options due to how they're structured. Now, because I'm personally not looking for an income from my investments at the current moment, I actually don't own either of these ETFs, but if you are one looking for an income, especially to have inside a normal taxable brokerage account, these are some of the most underrated options that may really intrigue you, and I'm about to break down everything that you need to know in this video. Which I have to say before we get started, my name is Sully. I run the company InvestLane with the mission to help others learn how to save and invest wisely to build lasting wealth. And all I ask is that if you do find value in this video, that you consider hitting the like, subscribe, and notifications button for future content like this. With that said, let's get straight to it by first breaking down each of these ETFs, with the first one being the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF, SPYI. Now, if you're new to investing into these ETFs, they can easily come off confusing. So to explain this in my most simplest terms, SPYI has its underlying index that it tracks to be the S&P 500. But now, instead of getting an ETF like State Street's S&P 500 ETF that is SPY, or the most popular S&P 500 ETF that is the largest in the market, that's Vanguard's VOO, instead of simply gaining exposure to the largest companies in the S&P 500, SPYI seeks to generate high monthly income by investing in S&P 500 holdings and implementing a data-driven call option strategy. And so this fulfills the fund's investment objective, that is to seek a high monthly income in a tax-efficient manner with the potential for upside appreciation in rising markets. So as crazy as this sounds, SPYI over the past year, as of April 30th of 2026, distributed a 12.09% of an income, and those distributions would have been split up to pay it out on a monthly basis. Now, at this current moment, SPYI is trading at just over $50 per share, and if we look at the distribution history, you can see that the income payouts from January to April so far of this year, they have been very consistent, with each month paying just over 50 cents per share that you own. But what's even better about this structure with SPYI is that the income is also very consistent, where if we look at the entire year of 2025, the monthly payouts, they're all very similar, so you can really get a good idea for what you are buying and getting into before you actually make the purchase. Which I have to say, if we look at the previous year, you'll see for 2024, that was just a little bit lower, but still very consistent, and the same concept applies for 2023, and then 2022 since the fund was created. So by just seeing that, you can really gain the confidence that if the market's going to continue to grow over time, so will your income from SPYI. Now, I'll cover further on later in this video how this fund and QQQI actually work and their underlying tax structure, but for SPYI, since its underlying index is the S&P 500, some of the top holdings are very similar, with companies like Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, with each of them having about 5 to 8.5% of the weight toward the fund. And so something else to just be aware of here that I just mentioned is that the fund is still relatively new, where it officially launched in August of 2022, and since then it has done very well by growing just over 25% over the last year. It's averaged just over 16% over the past 3 years, and since August of 2022, when it was initially created, it's averaged 14.5% per year. But the biggest thing I want to emphasize here is that those annual returns, they assume that you are reinvesting the dividends, and it also includes the annual cost that it takes to own the fund per year, and that's already factored into it. And so speaking of the cost, SPYI being actively managed, it's going to come at a higher cost than most ETFs that I at least cover on the channel, where SPYI cleanly displays that there is a 0.68% annual management fee, which means on a $10,000 investment, it would cost you $68 per year in fees. And do know that the fees are automatically taken out over time from your investment as you own the fund. Those fees actually add up greatly over time, which is why later in the video, I'm going to cover when these ETFs actually make sense for you. And I'll also show a super simple and generic portfolio example that you could learn from, or at least get an idea of. But the last point to mention about SPYI is that the total net assets under the fund's management is just about to reach $10 billion, which is much smaller than the popular but not as tax efficient alternative from JP Morgan, that is the ETF JPI, where you can see it has $45 billion in assets under its management. Alright, so knowing that about SPYI, before we cover the underlying tax structure among these ETFs, let's now quickly break down the second ETF, that is the NEOS NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF QQQI. Now, QQQI is advertised to be the award winner Best New Active ETF of 2025, picked from ETF.com. And of the main things to know about this fund, the first is to realize that this fund is very similar in structure to SPYI, but now it seeks to distribute a high monthly income generated from investing in the holdings of the NASDAQ 100 index and implementing a data-driven call option strategy, which that is what helps fulfill the investment objective, that is to generate a high monthly income in a tax-efficient manner with the potential for equity appreciation. Now, the crazier stat to point out here is that over the past year, QQQI has distributed a 14.11% of an income to its holders that is split into payments on a monthly basis. And while we're on it, you can see that this fund also has the same annual expense that is 0.68% of a management fee. But looking at the data here, this fund is actually even newer, where you can see it launched in January of 2024, but it already has more demand from its investors, where you can see the total assets under its management is close to $12 billion, where SPYI's was just about $10 billion. And speaking of its launch date, since that inception, the fund has averaged 19.45% per year, and over the last year alone, the fund has grown just over 31%. Now, the reason that this growth has been so strong is because technology stocks have done very well recently, and QQQI, it still allows you to gain access and exposure to that upside, but be aware that even though the income strategies can help reduce some of the volatility associated with the fund, there is still market risk that is associated. But knowing that, QQQI is currently sitting at around $56 per share as of the recording of this video in May of 2026, and if we look at the distribution history, you can see a very consistent income over the past couple of years, and that can really help investors that are thinking to buy this project with confidence how the fund may perform and the potential type of income you may expect. And so, not to mention, but since the fund's underlying index is the NASDAQ 100, you can also see top holdings that are inside of the fund. They're also Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, with just slightly more exposure to them than from SPYI. And one thing I have to emphasize for those that don't know much about the QQQ's investments is that the NASDAQ 100, it gives you access to the performance of the 100 largest non-financial companies that are listed on the NASDAQ, which if you didn't know, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 index, they are two of the most popular ones in the market, and is why the true exposure to solely the top companies through SPYI and QQQ, they are among the largest ETFs in the market, but now SPYI and QQQI have recently been created for investors looking for that equity exposure, but now with the potential for a consistently high monthly income. All right, so knowing all that about SPYI and QQQI, let's now go over how these ETFs actually work. But before we continue on, this video is sponsored by Tello Mobile, which is a budget-friendly wireless provider offering flexible phone plans at an affordable rate. For just $25 a month, you'll get unlimited everything on America's largest 5G network. And what I like is that you can easily build your own plan based on what you need, and you can upgrade or downgrade at any time for free. Not to mention, but they also include features like free Wi-Fi calling, international calls to over 60 countries, and eSIM support. And with a 4.5 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot from thousands of reviews, they built a strong reputation in the industry. So if you want to check them out and see if you can lower your monthly phone bill, I'll have a direct link in the description below for you. Now, when it comes to both SPYI and QQQI, a few of the key potential benefits of utilizing option-based ETFs includes a high monthly income as mentioned, a lower correlation due to option-based solutions, and the tax efficiency, where both of these funds index options are classified as Section 1256 contracts, which means the income is subject to a lower 60/40 tax rate. And as you can see in their prospectus, they state if the Section 1256 contracts produce capital gain or loss, gains or losses on these Section 1256 contracts open at the end of the year or terminated during the year are treated as 60% long-term and 40% short-term, regardless on how long the contracts were held. In addition, the fund may also seek to take advantage of tax loss harvesting opportunities by investment losses from certain equity and or option positions to offset realized taxable gains of equities and or options. So all that means is that the income generated from its options have much more favorable tax rates. And I have to say that if you are interested to learn more on this, Neos has made incredible YouTube videos explaining each of these topics even further. And I'll also be covering these investments in much further detail on the InvestLane YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so that you don't miss out on those videos. But even with the potential for that 60/40 tax treatment, understand that this isn't the best part about the tax efficiency with these ETFs. In fact, what makes Neos products like SPYI and QQQI really stand out for the tax efficiency over other high monthly income ETFs like JPI and JPQ is that NEOS has designed their distributions to aim for maximizing returns and minimizing taxes by following what's called a return of capital known as an ROC approach. So as you can see, NEOS states, unlike dividends or interest income, return of capital is not considered income and is not immediately taxable. Instead, it reduces the investor's cost basis in the ETF and can be particularly useful for ETFs that use option writing strategies to generate an income. NEOS also made a great video on this exact topic as well, but another article I came across simply put that while some mistakenly associate ROC with poor fund performance, in reality, it is a tax classification that may allow investors to defer tax liabilities on current income distributions. Think of it as a tax deferral where ROC distributions are not immediately taxable as income, and instead they reduce the investor's cost basis, which defers taxation until the investment is actually sold, potentially allowing for long-term capital gains treatment rather than ordinary income tax rates as long as fund shares are held for a period greater than 1 year. And realize that many actively managed funds like SPYI aim to generate strong total returns while offering ROC distributions that enhance the tax efficiency of monthly income distributions. So if we look at SPYI's 2024 performance from both a distribution and total return standpoint, you see close to 94% of its income distributions were classified as a return of capital. So in 2024, SPYI generated a total return of 19.04%, which exceeded its distribution that paid out 11.76% of an income on the investment, where 94% of that was a return of capital, and only 6% of the entire income, that 11.76 distribution rate from the entire year, only 6% was triggered as ordinary dividends. To sum that up, all that means is that instead of paying ordinary income tax on what you earn right now, the amount you earn lowers your cost basis from owning the fund, and when you sell the fund, you would then trigger capital gains, and if you held that investment for more than 1 year, you'll reap long-term capital gains, which offer much more favorable tax rates, which is especially better than ordinary income tax. And to clarify something that is cleanly stated on NEO's site is that once an investor's cost basis is exhausted, which means it goes down to zero, distributions classified as a return of capital will then be taxed as long-term capital gains if fund shares have been held for a period longer than 1 year. Now, the last thing I want to show for those that want to look into this even further, taking a glance at QQQI now, in the distributions tab, looking at the form 8937, that is the report of organizational actions affecting the basis of securities, you can see that this specific one from June to December of 2025 for QQQI reported the total monthly dividends for each share to be just over 60 cents per month distributed, and about 99.6% of the distributions were considered a return of capital. And if we then look at this for SPYI at form 8937, you can see that from June to December of 2025, each of the month's distributions had just over 95% of the amount considered as a return of capital. All in all, realize that this is a very tax efficient tool to have access to in the moment. It has a very strong backing as NEOS is gaining incredible popularity for these ETFs. And I have to say, even though your cost basis is getting reduced over time as you own it, realize that the worst case scenario is that when the time comes, you'll get to pay long-term capital gains on the return of capital distributions rather than that being treated as short-term gains as ordinary income tax, which is much higher. And so at least understanding the concept behind this is crucial, and is why we have to finish this off by going over when these ETFs make sense using a portfolio example. Now, a huge motto that I personally go by and recommend for everyone to aim for is growth now, dividends later. I say that because if you are on the younger end and still have decades to invest your money, you're very likely to grow your investments much stronger if you instead just buy VOO and QQQ for the true capital appreciation. But if you are one that's seeking an income, especially a high monthly income, using a taxable brokerage account, ETFs like SPYI and QQQI are literally designed for that. Now, if you're using a tax advantaged account like an IRA, it really doesn't matter until you get into your 60s on what you own, because you can change your investments at any time without triggering taxes. But I will personally say, due to the structure of JPI and JPQ, from my research, I would personally pick JPI and JPQ in an IRA in retirement, since they are likely to have a bit less volatility with market risk. But for anyone using a normal taxable brokerage account, the question to use ETFs like SPYI or QQQI that are structured as a return of capital, that ROC approach, by far to me outweigh the cost. Which I will say, Neos has other products similar to this that you may also be interested in, like their Bitcoin high income ETF, that is BTCI, or many others depending on the underlying exposure that you are looking for. But to just give you a generic example where this could be beneficial, let's say that you are currently in your 40s, you do a great job consistently investing in your 401k and IRA so that you have the confidence and ensure that you are likely to have a successful retirement once you reach that age, but you're sad because those savings, in order to use them, at least with the benefits, you have to wait until you're at least 59 and a half to truly reap it. Because of that, you decide that you want an income earlier on with your savings, and you decide to open up a normal taxable brokerage account, which, by the way, if you want to see some of the top ones that are available in the market and you want to get started with, I'll have a direct link to some of the top options available in the market in the description below. But knowing that you have your retirement savings aligned well, and that you have cash-like stability with products like a high-yield savings account or bonds for short-term cash, let's just say that you are going to use a simple generic portfolio using 5 ETFs, where a few of my personal favorites for this, if you are looking to seek strong growth and a solid income, would be through ETFs like the Schwab US Dividend Equity SCHD, Vanguard's S&P 500 VOO, the Invesco QQQ, and then the high income options I just mentioned for a high monthly income through Neos SPYI and QQQI, where each are split evenly at 20%. Now please realize that this is a super generic example and the past doesn't guarantee anything in the future, but with a portfolio like this, with all those investments, if you just held them long term, even the dividends from VOO, QQQ, and SCHD, they could all be treated for the most part very close to 100% in qualified dividends, which means pretty much everything in this portfolio, at the worst, would be taxed as long-term capital gains if you held on to it long enough. Which, by the way, if you did not realize or know that your gains, when they are triggered as long-term capital gains, could be taxed in the rates of 0, 15, or 20%, depending on your tax bracket. So with a portfolio like that from January of 2025 to today, assuming for this example that you reinvest the dividends, then you would have actually outperformed the S&P 500 by averaging 18.41% per year, where the S&P 500 would have averaged 17.77%. Realize that that is very similar, but if you instead wanted the tax efficient income now, so you take the dividends out as an income, you would end up averaging 11.36% after taking out the income, where the S&P 500 would have been 16.54%. And based on Seeking Alpha's calculations, the average yield for this portfolio would likely be around 6%, which means that if you just held onto this long enough, you are very likely to still have your portfolio appreciate in value and outpace inflation, while still taking in a strong tax-efficient income before retirement. In the end, if you are one looking for a strong income with the ability to reap it on a monthly basis and still have the ability for a tax efficient income outside of using a retirement account so that you can do this much earlier on, SPYI and QQQI, they are among the most underrated ETFs that you could use. Now, if you're interested to see data for all these ETFs and many other top ones that are in the market all in one place, I highly recommend checking out our free index fund cheat sheet that we've created at InvestLane, and I'll have that linked in the description below for you. And while you're at it, if you want to get started on a new investing platform or even high yield savings account, I'll have direct links below to some of the top options that you could get started with. And please know, at the end of the day, I want you to do what's best for your finances, but do know that depending on the ones you choose to get started with, I may earn a commission for it, which is greatly appreciated. And as always, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button for future content like this.